Hi, thanks for coming back to Leap Taken if you've been here before, and if this is your first time here, thank you for clicking on my video. So, today's video, I wanted to talk about something I thought was pretty interesting, and that is knowing when it's you thinking thoughts versus when it's spirit, your ancestors, or a deity speaking to you. Distinguishing that. And I think that's a really interesting topic because that's not so straightforward, at least not initially, not until you know for sure. Then I'd like to actually start with the first thing because this dictates a lot of whether or not it's you or you in your mind speaking, to yourself. And I don't mean your higher self, but just your overall thoughts. So here's what I want to just kind of get into. Sometimes you have to be very careful that fear isn't driving you. And I say that because if you are reaching out for help because you're having some problems in life, you're trying to make a decision. It doesn't have to be something negative. It could be something positive, whether or not to take a job. Does that really make sense for you? You kind of want to know what's going to happen if I take this job. Is this, not from a sense of if I take this job, what if I get fired, but more of a thing of if I take this job, and it's out of state, am I going to be okay? How's life going to work? Am I making a mistake marrying this man? Am I making a mistake wanting to start a relationship with this woman? We're so different. How is this going to work? Should I follow my heart? Am I, just in lust here? Should I have another baby? Should I quit my job? Should I start this new medication? Is this going to make sense for me? Those types of questions that will affect your life overall. And of course, there's even bigger stuff, right? And sometimes, we get messages or somebody, or you don't know if you're getting a message. Let me backtrack because I'm jumping ahead. Sometimes we don't know if it's a message for sure, or if it's just our higher self, or if is it fear speaking to us to keep us from doing things. And there's nothing wrong with fear. Fear is a necessary mechanism. What's wrong is if you only are driven by fear. That's going to be a problem, right? So I write a lot about this here in a more overall point of view. I don't really speak from a witchy point of view or anything, spiritual based, really. At my website, leaptaken.wordpress.com. leaptaken.wordpress.com. There I do discuss getting into fear because it's a real thing when you're trying to manifest or do anything in your life. Fear can really be a deterrent from just moving forward, and it can keep you, still. So that's why I want to get into the fear piece of this first. So for me, there are certain emotions that come with when I know it's fear speaking inwardly, and it's not my higher mind, it's not my intuition, it's not a goddess, it's not my ancestor spirit, the universe. It's just fear, and the emotion is usually first off, there's a physical feeling. It's in my gut, and it's more of a a churning, and it hurts. My stomach hurts a little bit. That's fear. That's not the butterflies in the tummy. Like, that's fear, and it's a bad feeling. Even if it's saying no, don't go, and it's I had to make a decision quite a few times on whether to stay or go for big moves, or to leave my job, my corporate job, and really follow my dreams at going to be a I can't get this words out, to wanting to be a stay-at-home wife. So following that passion for me. I had to come to the decision that I really wanted to do that. And the fear was real. So I had to learn to get through that fear and understanding that wasn't intuition, that's fear talking. And to move past it and to ignore that, to push that out, not down, push it out. Let the thought come to you, then dump it. What if this happened? What if, when you're thinking in the what if world, typically that's fear. To me, spirit, when you're getting real messages, it's not disguised in a what if fashion. That's not how the thoughts or the message comes to you. So that's one of the ways I kind of differentiate whether or not it's the fear talking, or if I'm getting a real message, or my higher self is speaking to me, or my intuition is taking over. No what if crap thoughts. I don't have a tightening in my stomach, which it feels like when you're scared. So yeah, when it's, I take deep breaths and I just kind of align with my higher self, meaning, my higher self is someone who is not driven by fear. They understand life is ever evolving. Things happen. Sometimes you're on an upswing with life. And sometimes life is going in the other direction. And what you do is you just prepare accordingly, for either direction. But it's all very fluid. So, I that's my higher self. So Mika, I say to myself, let's get in line with the higher self, and then tune in at that point, and let that other stuff, the other feelings go away, and let's wait for the real message to come in. So now let's talk about the real message. So for me, once I can distinguish, this is just fear coming in, let's tune in, and I've tuned in. So now how do I distinguish at that point, right? Because notice I said my higher self, my instinct, I said a deity, goddess, or God, ancestors, spirits, universe. There are certain tells that I have. And that's why it's important to kind of meditate and to study and to write everything down, because it'll all come to you. For instance, my ancestors connect with me on a level where if anything comes in threes, or numbers can be reduced down to three, or something said three times, or it doesn't have to be the physical number, something that I can interpret to the number three, I know for sure, without a doubt, that's them. And it works. It works. I've been very grateful to have a system in place where it works like that for me, because I can distinguish very quickly. Okay, that's that. That's one of the ways. Sometimes it depends on the message I'm receiving, or I guess how. So if it's more of a thought form, just knowing, like very quick knowing of something, that's usually them. That's, and I'm sorry, and it comes with something being said three times, or something just happened, or I saw the number three, and then boom, this thought comes. That's my connection. That's my tell. My instinct is usually something also, and it's sort of an instantaneous voice, but it's my own voice. And I don't hear it out loud. I just want to be clear. It's not like as clear as day as I'm talking. It's more like inside my head, I hear it out loud. It's just kind of like, if you ever wanted to know what it would be like, imagine being able to be someone who can, telepathic, where you can speak to someone, just using your mind and have a conversation, how in the movies. So that's the best way I could attribute it to understanding, except there's no outside voice. Just want to be clear on that. I do not hear outside voices. That'd be cool if I did, though. I would be talking about it. So I don't care how that makes me look, though. But I don't hear outside voices, just in case you're wondering. It's all happening, on a, I guess for lack of better words, inside of my head, okay? So when I get those instantaneous thought forms of just, especially when decision making, I feel like that's my instinct. 100%, I feel like that's my instinct. That's my higher self, the guiding me. as far as the universe, to me, that comes across in messages more in symbolism. It comes across in nature, birds, things like that. If a bird lands on my card, I may have talked about a story before where I was grappling with a decision. I think it was to come to Arizona. My husband was kind of leaving it up to me. He was not sure, 100% sure either. And we're both like, we need a sign. So this bird came and the bird made sense and it was the whole thing. So that was a sign. And I believe that was a sign from the universe. And as far as spirit world, I kind of combine that and the universe together, to be honest with you. So it's kind of almost one and the same, another, realm, so to speak, communicating with me. So more symbolism, I think, like that. Not so much like thought forms that just sort of pop in my head, like, yes, go left, or don't go in there, A lot of that also is instinct, but the more deeper messages where I feel like it's more of something has been said, not a just don't do that, that's instinct. The other part where it's more like, okay, you'll be living this. Okay, actually, I'll give it a great example, a real life example. Years ago, before I met my husband, a year before, I was with my then boyfriend in Florida, and we're having a wonderful brunch, and it's beautiful weather in the middle of February, and I'm soaking it up, and I'm loving life, and I'm really vibrating very high at this point. And I heard the thought form just pop in my head: you will live here. You won't live with him, but you will make a life here, and you're going to be okay. And I had a sense of happy and then shock. Like, what just happened? And all this while I'm sitting here, still maintaining the persona of being a normal person, just having food. But this awesome thing just happened to me, That was an instinct that, or maybe, the instinct came in to listen to that thought and take it seriously. Those were my ancestors. They came through loud and clear. So that was that thought. That wasn't me imagining. That wasn't me thinking something. That was definitely a message. They gave it to me directly. One of the cool things I would like to try to do is to have a direct pipeline of this communication at will like that. Usually it requires me to do something before I can speak with them or get more messages about something I'm legit asking about. That takes a little bit more work of meditative work. I usually have to use a tool, but if they want to get to me, they don't have that problem. Dreams. Dreams to me can be for sure a way that a deity comes to you. It's obviously much more visual. You get more dialogue. And I feel like that when you're in that realm and once you dream, you can easily get into their realm where they can meet you and you can have conversations and interactions. Lucid dreaming for sure. I don't necessarily mean just, deep sleep dreaming. Lucid dreaming as well. Meditation work. Definitely you can get in touch with your deity that way. And that's when you kind of got to really let go. If you struggle with that, don't stop. Keep trying. For lack of better words, you know what works for me? Just pretend you're falling asleep. Or actually try to fall asleep. It's the middle of the day. I get it. You're meditating on first thing in the morning. You had a great night's sleep. You're not sleepy. But do what you do when you relax enough to fall asleep. Mimic that. And try your best to hold there effortlessly. I know I know it can be difficult for those who struggle, but to me, people have tried to explain meditating to me. Oh, let go. No. Act like you're going to sleep in the middle of the day. Don't do this at night because you will fall asleep, but preferably during the day. All that you do when you're trying to fall asleep, do that, and hold, hold, and just wait for it to come. But you got to keep it effortless. You got to keep it real groovy, wavy, gooey. Don't be too rigid, Stay fluid and flexible in it, and you will have experiences. And even in those moments, by the way, you have to be careful about your thoughts versus getting other messages. And how do you know? You know you. And you think in what ifs. You think in questions. They just say stuff. They just implant visions. So if you're just getting a vision, you're like, what the heck did I think of that for? Boom. They're telling you something. It could be that simple. Sometimes, hey, some people have a much more robust experience. You know, they have visions of people and or you know, whatever they see this deity as. Boom, that's what they see in front of them. I think that's pretty awesome. And then they, you know, can have this interaction that way. So, yeah. Like I said, it's really a interesting topic, and for me, because I think it affects almost anybody who believes in anything other than, you know, it's just us and that's it. If you believe in any sort of deity at all, or spirits or anything like that, yeah, you have to kind of figure out, how do I know when it's not just me, or, you know, it's them? How do I figure that out? And that can take a lot of practice and just interactions and figuring it out. Pay attention to your emotions and how you feel, so you know, again, fear isn't driving you, especially when you're reaching out, making decisions. A lot of us reach out when something's wrong, or we need, or something's right. And you're trying to make a decision on some awesome things going on in your life. So know when fear is at play. A lot of people don't talk about that, but fear is a heck of a monster. I write about it a lot, the fear monster, and it has shown up in my life numerous times. I come from a place where people didn't have a lot, and when you are on the verge of poverty or in poverty, fear is present in your day-to-day life, because poverty brings out the absolute worst in humans. It has nothing to do with race, because you can go anywhere in the world, and I don't care what these people look like. I don't care what their ethnicity are. If there's poverty, and it's systemic poverty, you don't see a lot of positivity, because poverty sucks. It sucks being poor. It sucks not knowing, you know, if you have enough of any of the basic life essentials, and it will bring fear. You hear food scarcity? That sounds freaking scary as hell. Scarcity, you know, those types of things. It has taken me years, even now, to release that. Things are going well for me. At any point in my life, I have to fight the fear monster of the what if thoughts that come into my head. That's just freaking real, and it's annoying, and I hate that that's part of my thought process. You know, it gets in the way of doing magical work, because you're constantly, you know, fighting that. I gotta take some energy to shut that crap up and focus on what I know for sure will happen, and I got the confidence, I feel good about it, but I'm still grappling with the fear of, you know, something going wrong. So that's my take on it, and I hope you enjoyed listening, and I hope it was helpful. So, you know, thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, because I'm having a ball making these videos and really contributing to the YouTube universe with my little homespun channel. Again, thank you. Bye. Have a great day.